One of the oldest, most important aspects of storytelling is the reveal. The twist ending, the liar reveal, the man behind the mask. Defying the audience's expectations is a powerful way to leave an impact. There is an inherent issue on this though. There's only so long you can tease audience expectations before the end is doomed to disappoint. Which is why you must do something else with it. You can't just build your entire story around a simple twist or reveal. I imagine I'll be covering many exceptional films and the twists they deliver, but today I want to talk about what I believe to be one of the most powerful removals of a mask in cinema history, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I'm Mediocrity4 and welcome to MIS, where I seem to only talk about Disney movies. Man, really gotta spread my horizons. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is the most widely successful film series of all time, so much so that the only big mystery is when will it end. It brought comic book continuity to the big screen, brought all these iconic heroes and Ant-Man. It's got a lot of staying power because, as opposed to say James Bond, it can cover a wide range of genres and character dynamics through several different franchises, my favorite of which is Captain America. Full disclosure, I am a huge Captain America fan, have been for most of my life. When I first saw Spider-Man on the big screen, I prayed to God that one day they could make a Captain America movie. Nearly 10 years later, they did, and it was exactly what I was hoping for. I get it's not for everyone, but if you love Cap and everything he represents, then there's no reason not to love this movie. But, as is strangely common with superhero films, the sequel blew it out of the freaking water. If the first Avenger was a love letter to Golden Age comics, pulp adventures, and classic serials, Winter Soldier was a love letter to spy thrillers, 80s comics, and modern masterpieces. The film follows Captain America, who's a little more indoctrinated into modern society when a mysterious assassin known only as the Winter Soldier attacks Mace Windu. The seemingly last words, Jules gives Captain America a thing that leads him across country while being targeted by S.H.I.E.L.D. and the titular assassin. So, Cap teams up with Black Widow and Clarence from 8 Mile to find out what is going on. The whole narrative conceit of the movie is finding out what happens when you take God's gift to man, pull him out of the idyllic black and white world of the 1940s, and put him in a modern post-9/11, post-Patriot Act, corrupt to the core government system. Then sit back and watch him work like an antivirus, a force of absolute good having to come to grips with the fact that America isn't what it used to be. This all comes to a head during the crew's first full-on encounter with the Winter Soldier. In the previous scene, Captain America found out that Hydra is still around and has been pulling the strings ever since World War II. They've infected S.H.I.E.L.D. and have been systematically targeting anyone who poses a threat. It goes as far to imply that the whole Avengers initiative was a ploy to find these potential threats. With Nick Fury out of commission, the rest of the Avengers presumably off on their own adventures, and everyone hunting him down, Cap is forced to trust Black Widow and Sam Wilson, who he barely knows, to take the fight to Hydra and find out what they're planning. This brings them to confront the guy Cap saved at the beginning of the movie, which started this whole mess. This guy informs them that Hydra is going to use the helicarrier launch to bomb everyone they perceive as a threat. Before they can go any further, the Hydra guy gets ripped from the window, thrown into oncoming traffic, and the fight is on. Winter Soldier and a bunch of S.H.I.E.L.D. goons begin to fight Cap and the gang. Action scenes are difficult to qualify with words because, well, they're action scenes. And if I had to hurl a platitude at the scene, I'd say it puts most other action movies as of late to absolute shame. In every way, especially that all too important and underrated category of sound design. Instead of relying on over-the-top impossible moves and picture-perfect choreography, every move feels like what real, highly trained people would do. Even the inevitable removal of the mask isn't done in any kind of dramatic effect, because at that moment, no one involved cares about the Winter Soldier's identity. So the mask just falls off after Cap throws him. And this is where the genius marketing comes into play. See, Winter Soldier is a character in the comics, and his story is pretty legendary among Captain America fans. He's been in video games and TV shows. Anyone with passing knowledge of the character knows who he is. And if they don't, it's a quick Google search away. So the marketing team pulled a Clark Kent and didn't hide his identity. They didn't talk about it openly, but they didn't act like it was going to be a big deal. That way, they can at least surprise casual moviegoers who don't know much about comic books. Compare that to Star Trek Into Darkness, where J.J. Abrams was all like, who is he? What's the twist going to be? What's the deal? And everyone assumed it was Khan. And it was. But keeping it a secret was pointless because no one on the Enterprise crew had ever heard of Khan. See also, Arkham Knight. Crew of the Winter Soldier kept the focus where it needed to be. Captain America. The man already found out that his sacrifices in World War II amounted to nothing in the grand scheme of things. Now this assassin out to stop him from saving countless lives turns out to be his brainwashed best friend who he thought died back in the 40s? Well, that's the equivalent of finding out Santa's not real. Cap is so set back he just stands there with this look in his eyes. He doesn't recognize him, but Cap recognizing him eventually leads to the existential crisis Winter Soldier goes through at the end of the movie and well into the next one. The action scene closes with Cap and the gang getting surrounded and arrested by S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. They then promptly get rescued by Maria Hill and other people working for Fury, and with all the players set, the endgame begins. All I can really say is this. In a day and age where movie scripts leak online, trailers spoil everything, and vacuous fan service is used in favor of exploring character dynamics, it's so refreshing to know that movies like Winter Soldier still exist. That's why this is the most important scene. Thanks for watching.